In this video, I discuss Bitcoin, current price predictions, where I think the price will go in the coming weeks short term, and I also briefly discuss the altcoins and any setups we're seeing in the charts at the moment. So those of you who've been following me for a while, you know I've been saying the Bitcoin ETF and potentially other ETFs afterwards like Ethereum, it's probably going to be a sell the news event. My opinion on that has somewhat changed, and the reason it's changed is this. If everybody thinks it's going to be a sell the news event, it's not going to be a sell the news event. So here in this article, this is on CoinDesk, this was only a few hours ago, they talked about the fact that if the ETF's approved, Bitcoin could fall as low as 32,000. Now, a lot of people are saying we might get a decision on the ETF in January. So we're literally talking days now because we're going to start the new year very soon. And this is a quote from that same article, which says, with Bitcoin up over 60% since ETF mania began a few months ago, and with every man and his dog on X.com expecting an approval on or around 10th January, we must start to anticipate much larger volatility events, which obviously, you would agree with. There's going to be a lot of volatility around the time of that event. And this is interesting. And this is one of the reasons I figured it could be a sell the news event. You can see here, it says in 2017, BTC topped 20,000 after the CME listed BTC futures. In 2021, as a lot of you will know, it's after Coinbase completed its IPO. That we literally on that day, I think, was the top, and then it traded lower from there. So you have to be careful with with perceived very bullish news. So where does that leave us? Well, you can argue then that a lot of the rally we've seen, especially from October, was in preparation. If you want to give it a news reason, it's ETF mania. Yeah, you can absolutely argue that. Now, in terms of the actual move off the lows, if we get out here onto a weekly chart, you can see here that from the November low, we had one strong impulsive move up, and now it looks like we've done a second move actually from September. That's when the low was. And where do we go from here? Is this the beginning of something more substantial moving up? Or was this all part of like a larger correction and we might be very near a local top? That's the question. We know here at these levels there's resistance because these were previous areas of support. So you would expect price to slow down. The other thing we know, as I've discussed many times in my videos, is when Bitcoin is bullish and is moving up and then moving sideways, that's a great time for altcoins. So especially here from this top from 5th of December going sideways, a lot of you, especially those of you following my videos, will know this was when a lot of smaller altcoins really burst out and a lot of meme coins started running as well. And we had a really, really good run and rally. And that could continue. If Bitcoin keeps going sideways, that stuff usually continues. But are we now setting up for a pullback, and could it be a significant pullback? That's the question. I found some clues in the altcoins which are a little bit concerning. But first of all, just on the Bitcoin chart alone, what did we see around November? We saw here a kind of ascending wedge pattern. We saw higher highs and higher lows, and it wedged upwards, and then we got a breakout. The pattern we're seeing now, just based on just basic chart patterns here, is we saw a top on the 8th of December, and we've seen a lower high since, but we're also seeing higher lows here as well. So it's a wedge pattern, but it's more almost like a symmetrical triangle is forming here. And usually during these periods of consolidation, this is a little bit of Wyckoff here, but basically what you tend to see is reduced volatility going into this kind of symmetrical triangle. You see reduced volume, which is what we're seeing, and this can break out at any time. And when it breaks out, very likely there will be a powerful move. Now you can get a fake out as well either way before we move. That's very possible as well. And in terms of what's more likely to happen, based on this chart alone, it's kind of a coin flip because the movements down and upwards all seem to be quite corrective. However, on the altcoins, if you have a look at some of the ones that moved significantly, some of the larger cap ones. So let's start with Solana first. If you have a look on a 4-hourly chart and we'll have a look at the momentum divergence here, you can see at these two tops, we had classic divergence. And then in terms of a chart pattern, we had almost a head and shoulders pattern form here at the highs. So if we drop into an hourly, you can see here almost a classic head and shoulders pattern forming here, and we've broken through. So this may have been a significant top. And remember, this was after a massive run. And I did explain in previous videos, we'll probably get to 100 resistance, then 120-ish mark, and then we'll get a pullback. We've already had a pullback actually of 20% or so in Solana. But if you have a look at some of the others, AVAX was another one that's come down impulsively, but it seems like when it was ending, it may have ended in a wedge pattern. This is an ending diagonal. And this is significant because it's the end of a kind of tired move upwards. So after lots and lots of bullish impulsive move upwards, the trend gets kind of tired, and that's why you get this choppy overlapping nature, and then that wedge breaks down. So in a lot of these altcoins, there are some significant levels that need to hold for us to stay bullish. And if they break, then this is a problem. For example, here on AVAX, around the 34.5 level, and on Solana, you're looking at the 90 level, and we're not far away from that now. So this could, the reason this is a problem is Bitcoin is still going sideways. If Bitcoin breaks down, the altcoins basically will correct a lot more, significantly. Like it could be anywhere up to 50%. And this is even normal actually in a bull market. You can get significant corrections. Apart from what we're seeing here on the charts of Bitcoin, there's nothing in terms of the structure that could argue against us moving higher from here and getting to the 48,000 level and beyond. Nothing at all, because if this is literally a bull market that began last year in November, then we're very early in terms of the way up. And when price is moving and consolidating like this, there's nothing on in terms of like candlestick patterns, momentum. There's nothing that will give you a clue as to which way you're going to go. You have to actually just follow price action here. That's the best thing you could possibly do. So for me, during these periods, when altcoins are already starting a big correction, I prefer to be on the sidelines, but also watch very carefully. And if it seems that we're going to break out upwards, I will jump into altcoins again and I will trade them, especially some of the stronger ones and some of the ones that were closer to breaking out. For example, some of them, like Link here, it did a nice breakout, but it looks like it'll be a fake breakout. And if price action moves below this trend line again, then we could get a serious dump. Render is another one. You saw this little fake out above and I'll pull back down. Once it's back down again, then you have to watch very carefully, but very likely the price could break down a lot further. And we already saw some that were rallying really hard have significant corrections. So Near is another one that had a top on 26th and it's already down 20%. And some are down even further than that. Why am I showing you these altcoins when it comes to Bitcoin prediction? Because everything is related in cryptocurrency. And to give you an idea of where altcoins are going in general, I like to look at several of them. I like to have a look at several charts. So they're all going through a pullback kind of period at the moment. But the other thing I like to think about here, especially those of you who have experience in several market cycles when it comes to cryptocurrency, especially those of you who have experienced several cryptocurrency cycles, what's maximum pain here? What's the maximum pain? What do people least expect? And I've just shown you now that article where everybody's saying it's sell the news event. What might be least expected is for us to rally strongly from here. We get a little bit of a fake out to the downside, and then we actually rally upwards. For me, that's max pain. Because a lot of people are calling a pullback and it's healthy and it's normal and maybe people would expect that. But if this is all corrective and this is all a narrative play and actually cryptocurrency second half of next year might not go as well as everybody's thinking, then max pain is actually upwards, believe it or not. So I'm actually looking for that move. But for me, I don't need to guess beforehand. If there's increased volatility and we're now on 28th of December and we know in a few days, 2024, a few days into the year, that's when the volume now comes back into the market. The big funds start to do their investments in stock market portfolios, cryptocurrency, etc. Right now, there's thin volume. It's that volume that will dictate which direction we're going to go in for the first few weeks of Q1 2024. So you're better inclined to wait there, be holding cash and be ready. Because if you get a fake out up or down, you could be ready to trade it if you wanted to short. Or if you're just looking for a long position, you hope it fakes out downwards and then you take the long trade. And what I think could happen, and obviously my opinion changes based on what's happening in terms of market structure, what news we're hearing and stuff like that as well. But mainly it's based on the charts. If we get a fake out and a strong move upwards, I think the altcoins are going to rally like crazy. And I don't really care what the end point is then. You'd go for the ride, but you should know that once we get loads and loads of bullish news after the altcoins have already ran, that might be the time when you mark a top. It could be a local top, it could be a significant top, it could be the highest prices we see for the whole of 2024. We may even just see those as early as February and the rest of the year is just down. We have no idea. But I'm starting to get the feeling that that might happen. And if that doesn't happen, and we do actually get a crash in Bitcoin's price, everything else follows, well then it's just a waiting game. That's probably the healthier move, believe it or not. Probably an ETF be mentioned and be confirmed, and then we get a pullback, and then everybody jumps in slowly, and we get accumulation here at a lower support zone. So something like the 37,000 level. That would be an area which is strong support now, potentially. And we get accumulation there, and then we move up in, say, late February to March. That might be a better thing for cryptocurrency in general. It's just, I'm thinking max pain. I'm thinking that's what a lot of people are hoping for and expecting, but max pain is a little bit more of a pullback, and then we shoot up again. Let's see how it goes. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for listening.